Hi, second grade. So for Bible, this week we are going to continue talking about the plagues that God placed upon Egypt. So last time we met virtually, we went over the first 8 plagues. We're going to go over one more today and then go over some vocabulary together, since that's going to help you with your assignment for today. All right, so before we get into that, we're going to review the first 8 plagues. The first plague is that God turned the Nile into blood. Second plague is that frogs swarmed the land of Egypt. Third, dust turned to bugs. 4, flies swarmed Egypt. 5, all the cattle that belonged to the Egyptians died. 6, boils or red swollen sores on skin broke upon men and animals. 7, thunder, hail, and lightning broke upon the land of Egypt, which killed the men that were working on the fields, but only Egyptians. And 8, locust or grasshoppers swarmed the land of Egypt. All right, so those are the 8 plagues that we went over together. And I'm going to read from the book of Exodus, and we're going to find out about our 9th plague. Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and darkness covered the land for 3 days. We need to remember that God will discipline us when we are stubbornly continue to sin and when we do not admit when we do wrong. So God disciplined Pharaoh and the Egyptians because they would not repent. Last time we talked, we went over the fact that Pharaoh would constantly ask for the plagues to go away and would say that he was sorry and that he sinned, but he didn't really mean it in his heart, right? Because he continued to give the Israelites more work. He would not let them free, and he wouldn't keep his word. So then we tie that into our own lives, because sometimes we can find ourselves saying sorry to people just to get rid of a situation, to move on, but sometimes we don't really mean it in our hearts. So like I said, we need to remember that God disciplines that behavior. He wants us to fully repent and ask for forgiveness when we make the wrong choices so we can continue on a better path for our lives, right? God only wants the best for us. So when he disciplines, it means that we continue to make choices that aren't pleasing in his sight. So moving on to our vocabulary. So there are some words I want to go over that are going to be on your assignment for today. So we need to know that the Pharaoh is the leader of Egypt, right? He is the one that's making the decision to enslave the Israelites. We also need to know that Canaan is the land that God promised the Israelites, where they would be free from slavery. It's also important to know what locusts are. So locusts were a part of the 8th plague. That is when locusts swarmed the land of Egypt. Locusts are grasshoppers. It is also very important to know this, that God is the true leader of the Hebrews. Even though God sent Moses and worked through Moses to help the Israelites, God is the one that shows his true power. God is the true leader of the Hebrews. It's also important to know that God is our creator. God created everything on this earth, right? And my next word is this. Magician can also be another word for a sorcerer, right? The Pharaoh, he had magicians that would kind of do the same things that God would do, right? So God turned a snake into a staff, right? With God's help, Moses was able to do that. And magicians did the same thing. So their power did not come from God, it comes from Satan. And my last vocabulary word is this, taskmaster. So taskmasters are the ones that made the Israelites do really, really hard work, okay? So those words are very important to know, second grade, as we continue the story. I want you to continue thinking about ways that we can grow as Christians, as people that ask for forgiveness, and that care for others well. All right, second grade, see you soon.